Hey y'all, and welcome to Politibrawl. My name is Brian, and this man looked death in the eyes and said square up, essentially. All because he was wearing a MAGA hat. This liberal got so triggered that he threatened this man's life. And he tells his entire story on Jesse Waters. This is wild. And before we dive into the video, I want to give a quick shout out to our sponsors, Colonial Metals Group. They literally have the cure to Biden inflation, but more on that later. Now, let's get back into the video.
Take us through what happened. You're at Sam's Club, you're with your wife, you got your MAGA hat on. What happened next?
Well, we was walking to the checkout line and Mr. Phillips was approaching us. I had turned to look at my wife and was talking with her when he flipped us off. And her facial expression changed instantly. Yes, give us a finger. And her facial expression changed instantly, and she said, did he flip us off? And when I spun around, I seen his hands going down with his finger still up. And she said, excuse me, did you flip us off? And he turned around and went into an explicative tirade. Yes, I did, because of those hats.
Wow.
And that's when I decided to confront him about it.
All right, so then it kind of moved out into the parking lot. You were defending your wife's honor. He then allegedly pulled a gun on you?
No, Jesse, actually it was still inside the store. I had walked around, he was trying to walk away, and I went in front of him and I put my finger in his face and I said, what gives you the right to flip me off just because of the hat that I wear? And he started in again, so another little altercation occurred, and that's when he drew a .40 caliber pistol out and stuck it in my face inside the store with numerous people around.
Okay, so there's witnesses. He pulled the gun out, pointed it to your head. What did he say when he pulled the gun out?
He said, this is a good day for you to die.
Jesus.
And I simply replied to him, then pull the trigger. You're either going to pull the trigger or you're going to put the gun down and face me like a man. And he started backing up, and as he was backing up, we're still arguing. He said again, yeah, this is a good day for you to die. And I warned him again, because I kept walking towards him. I said, then pull the trigger or put the gun down and face me like a man. That's the only two choices you've got.
Wow.
And that's, we kept arguing, and as he backed up, he took the gun and stuck it in the back of his belt, the backside of his belt.
Right.
And one of the management from Sam's Club had stepped around the corner. He said, did he pull a gun on you? And I turned and looked at him. I said, yes, he did. And I'm going after him. And when I turned around, he was gone. Well,
listen, it's amazing that someone has a gun pulled on them simply for wearing a Make America Great Again hat. I assume you haven't been contacted by a lot of the mainstream media reporters. You know, if this had been the other way, you probably would have been on every single TV show.
I wish I was surprised by this video. I wish I was surprised by this story. But y'all, watching the political discourse pretty much after 2012 just break down into itty-bitty pieces, and it's a dumpster fire. Our political discourse has become a dumpster fire. The kids are angry, the old folks are angry, Gen X is angry, but they don't do anything. Millennials are angry. We're all just hopping mad. And there's a whole multitude of reasons why. But before I get into that, this man stuck a gun in front of a person who was wearing a MAGA hat's face. And ultimately the story goes on and it continues. Today is a good day to die. That's what the guy with the gun said to the man who was defending his own First Amendment rights to wear whatever he wishes to protect his speech. That's what we're up against. Y'all, times are rough. Record inflation is still not under control. We have a president who doesn't know what planet he's on, and the Federal Reserve continues to make dumb decision after dumb decision after dumb decision. You can gamble on Wall Street all you want, but if you want to diversify and protect your wealth, you need to look into my friends over at Colonial Metals Group. These amazing experts understand how to keep your wealth safe and protected from the volatility of our current market. And there's even a great deal for first-time accounts. Free gold and silver-backed IRA accounts, insurance on whatever precious metals you happen to buy for 5 years, up to $7,500 worth of silver, and a nice safe for you to keep all this good stuff in. So go take a look at their website, link in the description below, or call the phone number below so you can talk personally to Paul Stone, CEO, and his amazing team of experts to protect your wealth today. The left, here's a very weird part of the left. The left projects its worst fears upon its enemies because deep down they want to do these things. They call the right fascist. They call conservatives fascists. When they're the ones that have cozied up to big business, they want to expand the power of the federal government. They want to censor your speech. Compare that to the conservative alternative. We want to make government smaller. We want to broaden the economy, and we want to make things better for all Americans. We want to shrink government. Fascists don't shrink government, they enhance it. And if you were to look at the political spectrum, you'll find a very odd trend. Over the past 20 years, as the Democrats move leftward, but remember, the political compass exists. There's an authoritarian left, there's a libertarian left, libertarian right, authoritarian right. The conservatives are sort of over here. But the Republicans are over here. The Democrats are in this weird band, and I really need to make a drawing of this sometime. But the modern Democrat Party is closer to the fascist on the spectrum because they're in the middle of the authoritarian. They're not quite traditionalists, and they're usually not religious, so they usually reach an authoritarian center and can go either way. And the Democrats aren't too far from that right now. We're living in a very weird, almost pre-dystopia. And they foment through the media just this weird rhetoric that feeds into the minds of these rich, white, entitled liberals who live in their ivory tower. And this apparently happened in Kentucky. So they're everywhere. All right? They're not just in the cities. They're not in their gated communities where the ghetto doesn't ever get to them. They live all over the United States. They can be found anywhere. It's ironic that people even listen to CNN, but that's once you understand that the whole goal of CNN, MSNBC, is to placate and feed into the hysteria of rich white liberals. Because that's where the money is. That's the now dominant class. But that dominant class is now coming to an end. And they know that they have power right now, but they also know that it's fragile and it's breaking. And this man's mind was quite literally broken. Broken to the point where someone would flash a weapon, a gun, into a man's face because he's wearing a MAGA hat. That man was primed to do something stupid, just as Crooks was primed to do something incredibly stupid and vile. The difference is this man was smart enough to know that taking someone's life is not worth it. Crooks, on the other hand, his mind was so warped that it essentially just fallen out of their brains. It's like the old Ronald Reagan quote, liberals know so much that isn't so. And there's another quote, not by Reagan, but liberals are so open-minded that their brains fall out. It's a weird phenomenon. But once you understand that these people have been fed this ridiculous slop of half-truths and misleads through the media that they consume, and it's not just the mainstream media, go on Tumblr, go on Reddit, you will find these weird echo chambers and hive minds that prime people to do this sort of inane crap. This is just indefensible and inexcusable. This is terrible behavior for democracy. It's terrible behavior for the Republic. And you know what? It's just terrible from person to person. I can't believe I have to say that. But because of videos like this, I'm forced to say the obvious. You don't threaten violence in a democracy. And currently, I'm wearing a Theodore Roosevelt shirt. There was an attempt made on his life. He continued his speech after getting shot in the chest. He was saved because he had his speech actually was put into his breast pocket, and that's what slowed down the bullet. All because of some deranged man thought that Theodore Roosevelt was a threat. The only threat Theodore Roosevelt was to the established order that was screwing over Americans. Funny how that plays out again today. Folks, my name is Brian. Hope you enjoyed this segment here on Politbro. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Catch you on the next one. And until then, y'all have a good one.